right, y'all. We got Michael Poland on the 5th episode of Deeper Than Racing, man. How you doing, man?
I'm alive. It's been a long couple of weeks. We just finished Small Tire Gangsters last weekend, so trying to get everything back in order and got new things happening. I started full time with NX this week, so
nice.
Moving forward in life, moving on up.
Has this been your dream job?
Yes. Not necessarily a dream job, but I've always wanted to do. I mean, cliche. You always hear if you do what you love, you don't work.
For sure.
And that's where I'm kind of at with that. This opportunity presented itself, and I don't work every day. I come and I do what I love.
For sure. Nice. All right, so let my viewers know, man. Where you from?
I'm originally from Graham, Texas. I still live there now. Moving to Wichita Falls at some point. So Graham, Texas is you can drive from one side of town to the other in about 5 minutes. There's 4 or 5 red lights that go through there. Biggest thing we have is a Walmart. It's like 8,000 people. Real small town. Everybody knows everybody. So
yeah,
I was born and raised there. Lived there pretty much my whole entire life. That's where all my family is. So
okay, you got a pretty big family or?
Mom's side. Used to, not so much anymore as we've gotten older and things like that. It's really just my mom and my dad left. Other than that, everybody's passed away or moved on to other opportunities. There's not a lot in Graham as far as you go as career paths or things like that.
Yeah. Okay. So how's your relationship with your mom and dad?
My mom is, that's my go-to. I talk to my mom on a daily basis.
That's your rock, huh?
That is legit my rock. I don't know what I would do without my mother.
For sure.
My mom and it's actually my stepdad, but I call him my dad. He's my biological father was arrested in 2001 and spent I think 16 or 17 years in the penitentiary. So I didn't have a lot to do with my biological dad. So I talk to him occasionally now, 2 or 3 times a year. We see each other 2 or 3 times a year, but my stepdad is my dad. He taught me right from wrong.
Wait, so I'm sorry, I ain't mean to cut you off, but so what did your stepdad, your biological dad get locked up for?
Manufacturing and intent to deliver. There he had a lot of conspiracy charges and things that. Don't do drugs. Yeah.
So, what age did you get? Well, I'm sorry, how old are you now, Mike?
I'll be 30 in December, so I'm 29. This would be my 30, my dirty 30 year.
Okay, for sure. And what age did he get locked up? Or what age did you? How old were you when he got locked up?
I was 6 years old at the time that he was locked up.
Oh crap.
So really didn't have a lot to do with us before then because of the things that were going on, people he was running around with and things like that. So that precedent was already set. So it wasn't really a hard deal.
So did it affect you any? Well, you was a kid though. You probably didn't know what was
going on. I really did. At the time, I didn't know what was going on. Obviously, growing up and getting older, you learn things and you see things, and you learn a lot about life on your own, and then you ask questions. So
for sure.
That's exactly what I did. I wanted to know, the truth and all of that, and I think I've got that closure. Never really. I wouldn't. It didn't affect me or didn't faze me. I'm not one of those people that are going to Carry that as a I did this or I got in trouble because my dad got locked up or whatever. It's everybody has to be accountable for their actions that they make.
Right, for sure. All right, so is your dad's currently still locked up?
No, he's out now. He actually owns a trucking company down in Houston.
Oh, crap. Okay.
He's been out since I think he got paroled in he was there when my accident. So it was, I think, 10 or 11 he paroled out. He got out early. And then he got remarried and had kids and did some other things. And we just talked occasionally type deal. Up until 2012, I really didn't have a lot of communication with him hardly at all.
Oh, okay. And you're back to your stepdad. So he's been in your life ever since you was younger.
Yeah, since for 20 some odd years. We've
Jeez, okay.
So my stepdad is actually older. He's He'll be 72 this year, 73 this year.
Oh. Okay.
So he was when him and my mom got together. Both of his kids had already graduated high school. Actually, one of them had graduated college.
Mm-hmm.
He had already ran his full course as far as children go and all of that. And it took several years for us to get close and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, kind of build that relationship up. But that man is the whole reason I got into the racing side of things. He owned a race car and he took me to some of my first races that I ever went to. And after the third or fourth race I went to, there were some juniors there that were running. And I think a week later, my grandma and my dad and my stepdad bought me a junior. And that's
A junior dragster?
Yeah,
Okay.
I started racing there at probably 8 years old, I would say.
Yeah.
I was probably 7 or 8, somewhere in there. And we raced pretty much every weekend until I couldn't anymore.
Right.
I got to a point where I just got too tall. I couldn't fit in a car anymore.
Yeah, so you pretty much been racing your whole life then. Like you don't have any other hobbies. It's just strictly racing.
It's been racing. There was a little bit of time in my life that I took a few years off. There was I dealt with a lot of different battles and things. When you lose the ability to walk, you kind of things go a different opposite direction, and I went a whole different route in life, and it kind of went full circle back to here now. So, yeah, I don't know how to really get into all of that, but that's, in 2012 is when I had my car accident.
Okay.
August 10th of 2012 to be exact.
Yeah, so walk me through that. How was that, man?
So I graduated on May 30th of 2012, graduated high school, walked the stage then.
Okay.
And then August 10th, I was on my way to work in a windmill farm. I worked putting the big windmills up and everything. I was actually part of the electrical crew.
Okay.
So we laid electrical line and ran all of that. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to be to work by 5. I had about a 40-minute drive. And I made it 3 miles from my house, and I was coming around a curve.
So it was 3 miles from your house?
Yep, I just left my house, and I was out on a farm market road out in the middle of nowhere. And
they say most accidents happen a couple miles from your house. I read a statistic.
You're either going to or coming from. I know people drive 15 hours and make it 2 miles from their house. I've heard all kinds of crazy stories like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made it. It was exactly 3 miles from my house, and I was coming around a curve. And the last thing I remember was I looked down at the speed odometer, and I was doing 62. Like that image will always be, brain kind of stamped in my brain.
What was the zone at the time?
It was a 60.
60 to 60. Okay.
So I mean, I was doing just a little bit over.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty sharp curve, and take it, I was on a farm market road, so there's no shoulder or anything. It's just a 2-lane road with gravel on each side a little bit, and then it goes into field.
Right.
So I had a Nissan. I had a 2006 Nissan Titan, and the driver's side, front side, and the passenger side got off the road a little bit. Kind of went off into the gravel. First thought instantly was, don't jerk the wheel. We see people overreact like that all the time. Yeah. I slowly pulled the front tires back on, and I mean, right about the time I felt my front passenger tire come back up onto the highway, the ass end washed out on me.
So it was just you in the car?
Yes, it was just me. I was, like I said, I was on my way to work. Yeah. Nobody else was around. I slid, did a complete 180 across the highway, and I slid through a bar ditch, and when I did, I hit a big oak tree. When I hit that tree, it was right on the front quarter panel of the truck. It rolled the truck, and the first one I made it through, I remember going all the way over to the middle console and coming back across. And when I did, that's when I blacked out. I hit my head on the window, and basically from there, I woke up and didn't have any feeling in my legs. Which when I woke up initially, it was just my tailbone hurt. Like my tailbone hurt more than anything. It was all in my lower back. Yeah. And I knew my legs were on top of me, and I didn't have the ability, to get them out of the way. The the truck was actually standing up on the passenger door. So it was standing straight up and down. And I kept trying to grab the steering wheel to pull myself up because I was in the floorboard on the passenger side, and I couldn't pull myself up. Kind of went into a little bit of an anxiety attack at that point. Started, kind of crying and screaming because I really didn't know what to do. And then instincts kicked in. I had on, when we laid the electrical line on these windmills, we had real big, thick rubber gloves. So when they were laying that line down, it wouldn't burn us when they're rolling it out. And I had them in the pocket of a safety vest. And I remember I grabbed one of those gloves, and my hand was kind of tied up. My right hand was tied up behind me. And I just got that glove on with my teeth. And there was a little bitty hole. I mean, just a tiny hole in the windshield on the front, from where the front window had busted. And I just stuck my finger in that hole, and I just ripped it down. And when I ripped that down, I fell out on the ground.
Right. That's your way of. That was your way of escaping out of the car.
Yes, because it was the motor had shut off when I was rolling in the process. It had shut off, but I was right by the motor of the vehicle, and I guess I was kind of hyperventilating because of everything that was going on, and I was getting really hot. I was sweating real bad, and I felt like I was going to pass out. So that's when I say instincts kicked in. Like I was trying to get out of there. I remember falling out on the ground, and I just laid there for probably at least 3 or 4 minutes and kind of caught my breath and like collected my thoughts of everything that had just transpired. And there was a long trip back to the highway. I was on a farm market road at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wait, so who came and got you?
I ended up crawling 74 yards back to the highway.
Damn.
And that was army crawling any way possible I could to move. I made it back to the highway, and probably about 20 yards from the highway, I seen a truck coming down a driveway from another gentleman that lived on the same road that my parents did.
Right.
And I rushed as fast as I could. I actually, there's probably still some marks and stuff on my arms that you can see. I crawled through cactus and all kinds of stuff trying to get to the highway as quick as possible. When I made it to the edge of the road, well, not really the edge of the road, I made it on the other side of the tree. I was where the bar ditch meets in the kind of in the valley of that. I took off the safety vest I had because it was a big bright yellow safety vest. I started waving that in circles, and he actually passed me originally.
Damn.
And my first thought is, fuck, what am I gonna do?
Damn, like help me, like damn.
I'm like, what am I gonna do? And then I heard a truck coming back, and that guy actually reversed probably a half a mile down the road. And he pulls up, and he's like, I thought I seen something out of the corner of my eye. Are you okay? And I told him, I'm like, I call 911. I don't know. Mentally, I'm here, but physically, like, I can't feel my legs. And instantly, he freaked out. That guy went into a full-blown panic. He actually grabbed my shoulder because I was moving around a lot, just because I was uncomfortable. He grabbed my shoulders and pinned me to the ground, and he had tears in his eyes, and I remember him telling me, like, don't move, do not move, do not move. And come to find out after the fact that he lost his wife, and his daughter is a paraplegic from a car accident.
Damn, bro.
So crazy. Still to this day, I still see that gentleman from time to time, and we talk every time we see it. It was a life-changing experience for both of us. He found somebody that had just lost the ability to walk. And he had dealt with it previously, so that was kind of a really weird situation when you really think about it. But he did the right thing. He helped me where I needed to be. It seemed like it took forever for the ambulance to get there. They finally showed up, and I was covered in blood from head to toe. I remember the state trooper asked me, do you want to see your mom? And I said, do y'all have a mirror or anything? And they kind of showed me with a phone. And I had just my whole side of my face, like there was no hair on this side from where I'd hit the window of the truck. And I just had blood all down the side, and I was like, I'm not gonna let my mother see me like this. Do y'all have any water, anything? And the EMT actually took a saline bottle and just squirted it all over my face. We took towels and wiped it off so that I could see my mom before I took off. But
Yeah, because your mama probably would have
I didn't.
freaked out.
I was in a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort at that point. But my main concern was I didn't want my mom. I wanted my mom to know that I was okay. Like when she asked me if I was okay, and I told her that I was okay, I wanted her to have that reassurance that I was good, not covered in blood and just saying it to say it.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was a really difficult conversation to have with your mother, and from there I went from there about 6 miles into Graham into the hospital, and I went straight to a helicopter, and they ended up having to leave one of the pilots sitting on the helipad because I'm 7 foot tall and they couldn't fit me.
Yeah.
They had to actually take the chair out of the thing, out of the helicopter to fit me in it.
So you're 7 foot?
Yes.
I remember you telling me that, yeah, but damn, wow, okay.
I've been 7 foot since I think my sophomore or junior year. About the end of my sophomore year, I would say.
Okay.
Because, even in 8th grade, I was 6'10", 6'11", and then I had a little bit, an inch growth spurt or so right after my freshman year. So somewhere in there, but right at 7 foot.
Damn. Okay, so go ahead.
So after that, I went to John Peter Smith Hospital in DFW, the JPS hospital. Had 2 or 3 different doctors come in, and this was on a Friday. This was on a Friday at 4 a.m. or whatever. I got to the hospital, I think, about 6 a.m. Several doctors came in, younger doctors came in and said, there's nothing we can do. The damage has already been done, yada, yada, yada.
And you heard them while
I was pretty coherent. The thing is at the time, I could still move my legs. I just didn't have any feeling in them.
Right.
Because they were having me do different tests and things like this. I could still pull my legs up.
Yeah.
And I could push them down. I could wiggle my toes, but I didn't have any sensation whatsoever. Sensation at that point. I was going to have surgery.
Okay.
But the hospital's extremely tied up as far as ORs go. Their operating rooms were tied up.
Yeah.
And they kind of told me the damage has already been done. We're just going to basically sedate you with pain medication. And when we've got time, we'll go in and we'll fix what we need to fix.
Yeah.
Then an older gentleman came in there, and I can't remember his name to save my life. I know exactly what he looks like because that image popped up in my head. But he came in and he looked at everything, and he looked at me and he looked at my mom, and he said, I want him prepped and ready for surgery in 30 minutes. And there was some bones and some things that were broken in my back that were touching my spinal cord, and he was worried about that.
Damn, man.
If I continued to stay where I was and move around and stuff, those bones would push further into my spinal cord, which in turn would have paralyzed me up higher and higher and higher to, there was a possibility I could have been paralyzed from the neck down.
Yeah.
So they literally did. They cut everything off of me. Well, my clothes were already cut off.
Yeah.
But they took everything off of me, sprayed me with this body stuff that they do, to clean your body before they take you into a surgery. And within 30 minutes, I was in surgery. And when I woke up, that was kind of the conversation that everybody was there. The older gentleman was there, the older doctor that did the surgery, and 2 other doctors were there. And they basically gave us the rundown of, you may walk again, you may never walk again, but you should also go ahead and set the expectation that your trauma and your level, it was an L1 and L2 break, which there's people that still, they break those bones, the part of their back, and they're walking a week later.
Right.
But all my swelling and everything had gone up so far on my spinal cord that I had lost a little bit of fluid out of my spinal cord. And a lot of people don't know how your spinal cord works, but it flows kind of just like a car radiator. You have so much fluid in there, and it has to stay there all the time, or it either gets cold or it gets hot. You know what I mean? One way or the other. Your spinal cord is the same way. You have, I forgot the exact number, but it's like 1.00386. Like, it's down to a very fine number of how much fluid is in your spinal cord.
Yeah.
Now, when you lose a little bit of that, it creates gaps. So basically, now my spinal cord flows at the top, and it flows at the bottom, but there's a little bit of gap right here that doesn't allow it to flow all the way through. And that's where you lose the ability to walk.
Okay.
So that it's just not transmitting all the way through. So we had already kind of they set that expectation there. From there, I went to a place called Fort Worth Rehabilitation Hospital, and it is they literally were just basically going to teach me how to live life from a wheelchair. And I was there for 11 months, I believe is what it was total. Doing physical therapy, occupational therapy, seeing therapists and things like that. Obviously, at 18 years old and you lose the ability to walk, you not necessarily have a choice, but I hated everybody, the world, and everything in it.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I'm sure you went to like a depression state, man.
Very, very, very bad. There was multiple times that I was pretty close to suicidal. Like it was a weird battle. It was a very different battle. I remember one time saving up all the pain pills that they would give me, and my plan was to just save them all up until I had enough to take them all and not have to worry about it anymore. But that wasn't fair to my mother, to everybody around. You know what I mean? And from that point, I made it I talked to the man upstairs, many prayers and many things, and I made a promise that my mother would never bury me. I would bury her.
Right.
And I'll hold that. I can't say I'll stand on that, but I'll sit on that for as long as I have to. Like that was a turning point for me, especially that was not fair for my mother. That was selfish of me to go out like that, especially after everything we had just been through. For me to just give up like that wasn't fair for her.
Right.
So I went through the whole rehab, learned a lot of things, learned a lot of do's and don'ts and things like that, and I was kind of getting ready to go home, and I was still battling with the depression and things really bad. And there was a 17-year-old girl that was in the same, well, not in the same room, but she was next to me. At the hospitals, they kind of have the curtains and things that they, they basically put two people in a room.
Right, yeah, I know you're talking about, yeah.
There's a 17-year-old girl that she had been in a some type of boating accident, or I don't remember exactly what it was, but she was paralyzed from the neck down.
Jeez.
And this girl's parents would stand out in the hallway and just cry and cry and cry, and then I would hear this girl tell her parents every day, there's no point in me being alive. Like, she refused to eat. She wouldn't open her mouth for them to feed her. She had the breathing tube in her neck. She would throw her head backwards and rip it out. She was doing everything she could to leave this world, and that was kind of like God slapped me in the face then and was like, you still have the ability to go and do
exactly.
Don't stop. That was a major turning point in my life, and I tell people that story not a lot, but often. When they ask me how I deal with this or how I deal with that, like, the situation can always be worse. If somebody breaks into your house and steals your safe, at least they didn't burn your whole house to the ground in the process.
Yeah,
or your car gets wrecked, well, at least you didn't break your leg in the process. Every situation. I still battle with the depression stuff.
To this day? To this day?
Not as bad anymore.
Not as bad, okay.
Yeah, after I left there, I was talking about the situations, how situations can always be worse.
Right.
That goes with everybody in life, and if that's one thing I could tell people that I've learned from this is, whether you are in debt or this or that, every situation could always be worse. It could take a turn. There's a lot of people that feel sorry for themselves or this or that because they have things going on in their lives, and that, take a step back and realize that situation could get a lot worse if you let it. The negativity, and you kind of manifest all that stuff. So if you get in a bad mood and you stay in a bad mood, it just continues to progressively go down.
Right. That's why I'm so big on just being optimistic in every situation, man, because you don't know who going through what. So
you got to take the good with the bad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to take the bad with the good, or vice versa. Everything happens for a reason. It's how you handle it is the complete opposite of that. You can have a total negative situation and you handle it with positivity, and it's not as negative. Because it's still negative, you know what I mean? But you water it down with positivity, and it's not that bad. you add more negativity to it, what's going to happen? That you got two negatives together. Now you just made your situation worse.
Right, exactly.
That was one of my biggest things. Now, after I got home, the girl that I was with, she wrote it out with me the whole entire time. I mean, we were...
So y'all actually like became like somewhat good friends.
Well, we were together before this. We were all through high school. We were together, all of that.
Okay.
And then I had my accident, and we were together for pretty much that whole entire time. Well, not pretty much. We were.
Wait,
together.
the girl that was paralyzed?
No.
Oh, it's another girl. Okay.
Yeah. This is my girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was about to say, wait a minute. Okay. All right. Come on. I got confused for a minute. All right, come on.
But about 2 years after that, so I actually moved back to Graham, and I didn't stay with my parents because they lived out in the country and things like that.
Okay.
My great grandpa, he was 86 at the time. 86 or 80, somewhere in there. He was in his late 80s, and he's been blind since he was 60.
Oh, okay.
So my great grandmother had just passed away.
This was after you came home, like a few.
Well, so she had passed away in kind of the middle of all of this. Going on, and
I'm sure she was somebody that was special in your life.
Very, very, very special to me. But my great grandpa, he didn't want to go to a nursing home. He was still very capable of anything you wanted him to do. You know, he may mow the yard and miss 15 spots and you had to go fix it, but he still did exactly what he wanted to do without hesitation. But just everyday life, he had on like kind of onset of Alzheimer's. He was starting to lose his mind a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it was it made more sense for me and him to kind of move in together and help each other out.
Right.
So that's what I did. I lived with him for several years, and then the girl that I was with basically came and told me that she didn't want to do it anymore. This is not the life she wanted to live. You know, she wrote it out with me through the whole hospital stays and this and that, and there was, you know, other things that she wanted to experience, and I told her 100%, I respect you, respect that, do what you got to do.
So how long did she break up with you after you left the hospital? Whenever you got home, how long did she ride it out with you? Like,
it was probably a little over 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah. So there was a lot of stuff, and I was angry a lot of the times. You know, more aggressive than anything. Short fuse, if you will. I was an asshole. I'll call it what it is. You know what I mean? I hated the world. I hated everything in it. Didn't really want to do anything. Felt sorry for myself. Yada yada yada. And that had a lot to do with it. After that, I kind of just bounced around a little bit. I lived with my great grandpa, but for the most part, I just hung out with the homies and didn't really have any goals or ambitions or anything. I was kind of just there. Then I ended up moving to Austin. I was talking to this girl, and we kind of messed around and stuff, and she was going to college down at San Marcos, but she lived in Austin. And one day I woke up and literally sold TVs, everything I owned, and I took my bags of clothes and I started driving to Austin, and I got on Indeed on the way down there. And I was just putting my resume in everywhere.
Trying to get jobs.
Trying to get a job before I got there. I got down there, I used the money that I had, and I bought 2 months actually at a raggedy ass hotel in New Braunfels, Texas. And I think I paid like $1,600 or something for 2 months at this hotel. It was they gave me their little king suite.
Yeah.
What was not anything to brag about. Like it was horrible, but I did what I had to do.
For sure.
And I started with a company selling pillows and different thing like the bamboo pillows or mount pillows or whatever. We sold them in H-E-B and Sam's Clubs and all of that stuff. I literally was a door-to-door salesman, if you will. I did that for about 6 or 8 months. Just enough money basically for a down payment on an apartment and things like that. Then I moved into Austin, and from there I worked for a company called the United States Gold Bureau, and we sold physical gold and silver to clients. So that was another sales job I was involved in. I did extremely well there, with commissions and everything. That was a really good job. And then from there, I started with American Airlines, and I was actually a manager with them for 3.5 or 4 years.
So you was getting jobs, you know. You was.
I was kind of just making my way,
Yeah.
taking a few steps up the totem pole at a time, trying to skip some steps along the way, if you will.
Yeah.
Because each job, it was like I was doubling my pay. Every time I would get the new job, I kept doubling my pay, and it was just building up my resume. So during this whole time, I lived in Austin for a total of 7 years. 6 years. I didn't have really anything to do with racing. I would watch a few live videos here and there, or I may watch the Street Outlaw stuff on TV occasionally, but for the most part, I drowned my depression with alcohol.
So you had like a addiction to alcohol.
It wasn't just the alcohol itself. I was on 6th Street in Austin, Monday to Monday. Every single night I was down there partying with people, trying to holler at females.
Yeah.
Just living that life, doing things.
And how old were you at this time?
21.
Oh, so yeah, you still living.
After my accident, I stayed in Graham for a couple. So I had my accident at 18. I stayed there for a couple years. Then I had my 21st birthday in Austin. 21, 22, 23. So I was down there till I was 25 or 26. And that's just what I did. I drank, snorted cocaine, fell in love with strippers. Did everything you're not supposed to do.
Right.
That's kind of how I handled it, and at the time it was an absolute blast. But looking back at it, I wasted a bunch of money and a bunch of time, and messed up a bunch of things in my life that I just basically because I didn't want to handle the things that I needed to handle.
Right. So you were basically just running away from your issues and everything. You didn't want to handle.
I was trying to bury the issues and I would bury them for a little bit, and then they would come back 10 times harder. I'd bury that for a little bit, and they'd come back 20 times harder, and it just got to a point where it just kept growing and growing and growing. That I took a little bit of time, and I did handle most of that. About the time I kind of straightened everything out and started moving in the right direction, was at the end of 2018 or 19, whenever COVID was.
About 2019, 18. It's in that ballpark.
I got laid off from American Airlines on December 31st of 2019. They called everybody into a room, and they said if you worked here 20 or 25 years, everybody raise your hand.
Ooh,
there was probably, 20 or 30 people that were in there that raised their hand. They said, all of you still have a job. Everybody else, your compensation pay is out the door. And they explained to us that the airline industry was taking a dip. We were going into this pandemic, and basically there was not enough money to go around for everybody.
Yeah.
I lived in an apartment I had to pay $1,600 a month for. That was just the apartment side of things, and then I had another $400 or $500 worth of bills of electricity and all this, Wi-Fi, all the stuff that comes with that. I was about $2,100 a month in bills, and I just couldn't afford it anymore. Just call it what it is. And I talked to my family. I talked to my mom. My dad actually was diagnosed with cancer.
Your biological dad?
No, my
the stepdad. I'm sorry. Yeah, you did say you calling your dad. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll clarify that way moving forward. That way you know. But
okay.
My stepdad was diagnosed with cancer, kind of in the same time frame.
What type of cancer? If your mom asking.
Prostate cancer.
Prostate. Okay.
Yep. So they believed they could cure it and this and this, but my mom needed help, and she couldn't. She had to work to pay the bills and things like that, because my stepdad now can't work anymore. He's been truck driving hauling, doing all kinds of work and stuff like that for pretty much his entire life.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I decided, you know, I got $2,100 a month here. I don't have a job. There's no reason for me to still be here and go out and do the things that I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all the people that I would say I called my friends there were just helping me dig myself into a deeper hole. So they weren't even friends, it was acquaintances. You know, the people that wanted to they wanted to hang out and go get drunk and do these things.
Everyone trying to make better for themselves and for the people around them.
Correct.
For sure.
You know, thinking about all of that, I decided, I said, it's time to move back home. Like my family needs help. I'm going to go do that. Right at the start of 2020, I moved back to Graham, and I got me a house and everything there. And really, right off the bat, I had to take my dad to Fort Worth every morning. It was an hour and 37-minute drive. We left at 6 o'clock every morning, and I took him to get his radiation treatments every day. So we did that for like 2 months, I think. It was every single day that we went, and
7 days a week, every day.
Every day.
Damn.
So we did that. That was a really long battle. You know, the chemo and all that stuff messed him up pretty bad. So, you know, watching that kind of took a toll on me a little bit too. Started messing with my mental health and things. But I got started coming back up to the track near Wichita, to Wichita Raceway Park, seen some testing tune stuff that they were doing.
So so were you into racing like that? You weren't really into racing like that, were you?
I was. It's kind of hard to explain. I was prior to the accident, and then the accident happened, and after, I really didn't have that much interest in it, just because of
everything you had going on.
I didn't want people to look at me differently or treat me differently, or you know, there was a lot of mental stuff that I was battling with more than anything when it came to that. I didn't know what people would say with, you know, somebody in a wheelchair being at a racetrack. You know, it's not safe. This. Like, there was a lot of conflicting battles that went on in my head during that time that did keep me away. But it got to a point where I kind of needed something to do. I kind of started to turn back towards the alcohol and things like that, and it was like, nah, that's probably not the best option. We've been down that route, and it didn't end good. So definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again,
expecting a different result, right? Yeah.
So started coming up here. I ran into Rosca and a couple other people, and we would just talk and kind of, you know, they treated me like family. So I started doing that, and then that kind of opened up some other things where I started going to some other races and doing some other things, and it really just snowballed from there. Because I wasn't like I was doing something that I didn't want to do, or, you know, I would take care of what I needed to during the week and make as much money as possible so that I could go do my what I called my therapy on the weekends. And I really wasn't involved, like, as far as running operations or doing it. I was a spectator. I was going and watching and doing these things, and I kept going to these events and meeting different people and meeting different people. And then I started working a few events, you know, kind of got tied into that, and started working a couple events, and one thing led to another, and that's kind of what I did full time for a long time.
So that's how you was making your money, like how were you running events? Like what exactly like were you doing? Like,
I started doing, you know, just working as far as whatever needed to be done, whether it was stage lanes, chip draws, I just whatever. Tell me what I need to do and I'll go do it. Because I mean, I was already going to be there anyways.
Yeah, at least.
So I took that opportunity. Like, if I make a couple $100, it paid for my fuel.
Yeah.
And I didn't lose anything from coming to these things. Not necessarily like I would have worked for free at that point. You know what I mean? It was just being involved in something and staying away from the stuff that I had a history of.
You slowly trying to like find your purpose and
and a lot of that was exploring and finding myself.
Right.
Because when you're 26, 27 years old, that's when Well, you're supposed to before, but most people, 26, 27, you start kind of wiggling your way and figuring out exactly which road you're going to go down.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm still lost myself, so right. I can only imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got multiple options here, and you like all these options. You just don't know exactly which one you're going to take.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was. It was just I wanted to be involved, be around. The more I was around people, the more comfortable that I got. The more comfortable I got, the more open up I became, and all of that kind of just helped build relationships and things. More people opened up to me, and I opened up to people, and I started meeting new people, meeting different people, all kinds of things like that. And the last year, I would say, has been pretty much the turning point in my life.
In a good way?
In a good way.
Okay, good.
In an absolute good way.
Okay.
I haven't drank or done anything in almost 2 years now.
Nice, congratulations, bro.
I have no interest in drinking or doing anything. Like, don't get me wrong, with Jimmy Dell and them, if he wins a class or something, we'll take a shot or something like that. But not anything compared to what used to go on. Just drowning.
You're doing it for like celebration reasons now,
yes.
But back then you were just doing it just to hide what you got going.
To bottle it all up.
Right.
And that I think that contributed to a lot of my anger that I dealt with and being mad and taking things out. Just an aggressive in general vibe. I was aggressive with everybody, and it caused me a lot of problems in my life. It was I was very confrontational with people and things, and when I got away from all of that is when everything really turned around for me. I learned that my peace is the most valuable thing. I don't care about money. I don't care about love or this or like my peace is the most valuable thing.
Right.
And once I learned that, there's not a lot that can bother me. I've been asked every question under the book.
Yeah.
People think it's always like, well, I don't want to offend you or I don't want to do this. Like, you can offend me.
Right.
Ask every question you possibly can. I'm always 100% truthful about it.
Yeah. And then I can kind of like play guilty of that too, because I always wanted to know. But me, like, bro, like, I don't see you, because I see you working hard. I feel like you work harder than some of the people that have the ability to walk, and that's just me being real, bro. Like, I see you at the track taking care of business, bro, and I'm like, bro, it should be no excuses now for anybody. You know what I'm saying?
And that's honestly, that's I don't want to say that's all that I do it for, but man, I've had so many people that come up and shake my hand, and they're like, I respect, you know what I mean? I respect you for what you're doing, and there's a lot of people that lay down or they find excuses for what they.
Exactly.
Why they can't or this or that.
Yeah. And me, like, I'm like, man, I ain't even trying to hear it. I
tell everybody all the time, I am no different than anybody else.
Right.
I can still do everything that I did before, except run. Like, what I mean? I literally, I can still have sex. They're just everything. Literally, when I say everything, I mean everything.
Right.
It's just how I get from point A to point B. Most of the time, I'm gonna kick your ass there.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
That is the only difference is.
Cause I see you run street races. We ran from the cops are coming. I seen you. Come on, bro. Like, nah, I salute you, bro. And I got a homeboy named Trey. I hope he watches too, man. He's big in the race game. He's from Georgia. And man, I pray to God he watch. I'm gonna tag him in the video. But he's the same way. He's a photographer. He take care of business, man. He don't have no excuses. He take care of business just like you, man. So you kind of remind me of him, you know. So
and that's the thing is that it's cliche and we've heard it our whole life. Like you can do anything that you put your mind to.
Right. Exactly.
If you really want it, you can go get it. I say all the time. The only thing stopping you is you.
Right. No excuses, no more, bro.
Right. I mean, if you're in your own way, there's nobody else to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
It's not because your parents were alcoholics or drug addicts or this or that or, all of that is kind of irrelevant when it comes down to it. Like, you get to a certain age, buckle down and handle your business, and if you want it, go get it.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at in my life. Like, the stuff with Nitrous Express. It was the opportunity was there, and I wouldn't even say the opportunity was there. I took the opportunity.
Right.
I made
Sometimes that's how you gotta be though.
Right.
Sometimes you gotta break down the dough instead of waiting for a knot.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? And then, I was like the Kool-Aid man in this place. I rolled through the door and was like, this is what's happening. And that's basically what happened with this deal. I've been friends with Rosca and all of them from the racetrack for a long time, and they all work here, and we've all been kind of friends. And that's basically how this. I mean, I did exactly what I was supposed to do, and the president came to me and basically said, "Hey, this is what's happening.
Yeah,
you're on team with us, and this is what we're doing." And I was like, "I'm game. Let's go." So it was a very short, simple conversation, and I would say I did that. Like, I put in the work, and I put in the time, the effort, all of that, and like nobody can take that from me.
Right.
Yeah.
You got any brothers and sisters? I meant to ask you about that.
I do. So I have. I have one half brother. We've got the same mom and different dads.
Okay.
And we have a little bit of a relationship. We talk occasionally and things like that. Which he's got several kids and a family and stuff now. So mostly just holidays and stuff like that. We were never really close, growing up.
Yeah.
It was more like the brother stuff, you know what I mean? We were whooping each other's ass and breaking each other's stuff, or, telling on one another. It was always something like that. But yeah, I have a brother, and he's 7 years older than me, so he's 37 now.
36, 37. Okay.
Somewhere in there.
Okay, man. I just had to ask you that. I ask everybody that. So what was the first race you ever promoted?
So the first race that I actually...
And the date too, as well.
Ooh.
That had your name on it. But you ever did a race by yourself?
Yeah, the first one that I ever did by myself was kind of by accident.
Okay.
There was a race already going on, and a guy wrecked, and the car burnt down, and the dude that was promoting the race basically didn't want to do it anymore. He was kind of flustered and from everything that happened. I mean, this car literally burnt to the ground on the right off to the edge of the surface. And there was a lot of people there. I think we were midway through first round or something like that, and it was getting dark. And where we were at, I'm trying not to name any names or anything. I don't want to blast anybody like that.
Yeah.
But the place that we were at didn't have any lights or anything like that. Kind of an old airstrip type deal, if you will. And it was getting dark, and they said, "No, we're not doing anything. Well, a bunch of all the drivers were like, well, we're trying to race. We drove here to race. I ended up doing a $100 buy-in. I had 16 cars.
Okay.
And I put $400 of my own money out of my pocket on top of it. So it was a $2,000 pot. And Kyle Buckmaster, of all people, actually flagged that race.
Oh, he flagged it?
He flagged it because I didn't feel comfortable.
Snap.
I didn't feel comfortable sitting out in between two cars. You'll see me promote and do stuff, but you'll never see me flag a race. I may get out there and mess around, but I can't run. I can't jump. I'm a sitting duck in between two cars. I'm good.
So Cal, he was a flagger back then?
Kyle's car was actually not on the property. He was out there helping somebody, and Kyle had flagged some other grudge races and stuff before I had seen him do it. So I'm like, "Hey Kyle, what do you think about this? Like, we're gonna do this little shootout," and he's like, "Dude, I'm game." And it was actually funny because midway through, he goes, "It gets pitch black out there. You can't see nothing."
Okay.
Kyle goes to bang the light, and he has the flashlight turns towards him. I'll have to find the video, but he hits the light, and literally Kyle's whole shirt and his face lit up, and both cars took off.
Damn.
And we still make fun of him to this day because he had the flashlight backwards.
Oh, so snap. They didn't even see the light.
It lit him up instead of lighting up out front.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
And they still took off.
They still took off. But the Steve Little with the Kraken ended up winning the whole deal. And I actually have those winner circle pictures hanging in my room to remind me.
The first night
that I was always involved around it or working around it, but I never actually got my feet wet in it.
Yeah, yeah. And what year was that? What year?
Shit, 21.
Oh, so that was recent.
Yeah, 20 or 21. I can't remember.
Oh, shit. Okay.
It was recently. I have to look back. I can't remember the exact date. But so that was probably early 20 or early 21, I would say, because we were in COVID in 20.
Yeah, but it was recent though. Like it wasn't like a couple years. Oh, that's dope, bro.
That was probably early 21, because then in June, I remember in June, I don't remember the exact day, but I was supposed to do a race with another guy. We were going to kind of tag team on the promotion of it, and he fell out like 2 weeks before. He kind of got bent out of shape over some certain rules and stuff that we were wanting to change about the race, and said that he didn't want to be a part of it. But it's called Let 'Em Hang, and that was here at WRP. And dude, Steph Co. I don't remember who all showed up. We had like 27 or 28 some odd cars, something like that showed up. It wasn't anything like big or crazy, but it was an absolute blast. Like we had fun, paid out good money, really just had a good time. And from there, I just progressively, each one I tried to invest more money and more time, and then this last big one that we did, the Small Tire Gangsters, me and Tom actually sat down. So a lot of people don't know this. Me and Tom are actually blood cousins.
Cousins.
He is part of my family.
Okay. Didn't know that.
And he was wanting to do, he knew I was more on the racing side of it. He was on the racer side of it. So we sat down and talked about a couple things. We want to do this. We want to do this. This is why we're trying to do it. Kind of had the same goals in mind, and we agreed, let's go all in.
Yeah.
We're gonna push all our chips in on this deal, and that's how the Small Tire Gangsters brand, I would say, is a brand now, came to life, and it that started just literally with us a 5-minute conversation with me and Tom. We created all that pretty quick, and then from there it just. Man, it was easy. This was probably one of the easiest things that I've done in my life, because it's something that we wanted to do, and I feel like it was meant to be.
Yeah, that was I'm not gonna lie, bro. And I'm not just saying it because you sitting here, bro. The way y'all promoted it, it was very creative. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Had the, instead of giving out trophies, y'all did the chain. Y'all lived up to the name, Gangster chain. The way y'all had, like, y'all went and supported like other people's event while supporting y'all's with the chain. Like, everybody wants to wear a Cuban. I mean, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? So the way y'all did that, it was very creative. And
that's what I mean when I say it all fell into place, because it was, let's do this and let's do this. At first we were going to do custom engraved pistols.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and that was, man, the ATF knocking at your door and calling your phone, like, hey, we need to talk to you about this, and this. It's like, I don't want to mess with y'all. Like, I don't want no part of this.
Man, you can't do that, bro. You might have somebody that got a felony or...
Right, and that's what we were running into was, a lot of these racers have prior history and things like that, whether it was from when they were a kid or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of them can't legally possess a firearm.
Right.
And if they can't sign the documentation for it, then there was a little bit of a conflict that was going on there. So we decided that was not in the best interest of not only the Small Tire Gangsters brand, but the racers more importantly.
Yeah.
We didn't want to get anybody in trouble. So we bounced around a few ideas, and there was several things that come up, like fur coats and, different things.
Nah, I feel like that would have been too much. And then it was like summertime. Well, it was not summertime, but it was getting hot.
We're getting to the warmer part of it. And then I just happened to be scrolling on Facebook, and it was like a jewelry ad from Zales or something like that, and it had a Cuban link on it. And I was like, dude, what if we do Cuban links with a big pendant? Like, if we had a big pendant with the logo on it with a Cuban link. So we started doing some research and realized fairly quickly that it was expensive but inexpensive at the same time. Like, there was, a regular trophy may cost you $40, $50 to make. We were in these things like $300 a piece.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of a transition there, but that's what we agreed that we were going all in. That had to be the Small Tire Gangsters deal. We wanted it to be different. Wanted to be set alone from everybody else, and then the whole Grand Theft Auto theme.
Yeah, that was
really
dope too.
It was by accident. We were flipping through filters, looking for this, looking for that,
Yeah.
and the graphic designer guy was just literally putting filters over different pictures, and he went over one, and I was like, hold on, stop right there, and I googled the Grand Theft Auto deal.
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of looking at it. We didn't want to get any copyrights or anything like that.
Yeah,
so we moved stuff around and changed it around to the best design possible. And then it literally came to my head like, dude, we can promote this every single day with the cars of these racers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember sitting there as a kid and waiting on Grand Theft Auto loading screens, the chick and all of that.
Yeah,
you just
boy, them used to be the
stuff.
days, boy.
Right. So,
Heck yeah.
I've been there. You know what I mean?
The best one is San Andreas. That was the best one. But go ahead.
Vice City was up there too.
Oh, Vice City was good. Vice City was good. Vice City was good. I forgot about that one too.
But that all kind of just came together, and then the loading screen deal happened. It all just came together as far as, I mean, it all the dominoes fell exactly how they needed to. People think there is a lot of work with that race, but a lot of the work did itself because of the way everything was set up. We set it up in the right order that when the next domino fell, it helped the other one fall down, and so on and so forth. Right. Like you were saying with the promotional type stuff, we never talked about putting chains on people and taking pictures and doing that. So we were like, no, we're just going to wear the chains to promote our race.
Right.
Well, then it happened, we got 1320 wearing our chain. We got Forever Grudge wearing our chain. We got this person wearing our chain. Everybody wanted a piece of the chain, like a part of the chain. And that just helped it grow more and more. That's one thing I did notice that from the Small Tire Gangsters race. If you go look at all of the winner circle pictures, nobody's really flashing the money like they usually do.
Just the chain, yeah. It's
they hold the chain up like that, and that's stuff that people will remember forever.
Right.
It's something different. Nobody else has really been down that avenue. And I think we kind of set the bar for new things and new trophies to come in and stuff like people to do. Not reinvent the wheel, but
you always gonna have somebody that kind of like bite the style. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, and I'm not. We can all eat here. There's plenty of room, and that's one thing that me and Tom said. Like, I'm not gonna hate on the next man for doing this or doing that. Like, somebody does belt buckles, more power to them. There's different things. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's not about Tom. It's not about another promoter. It's not about this. It's not about you. It's about the racers, man.
The community,
They're the ones that really put on the show. Most of these guys have hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in these cars. Like, that's the whole reason you go to the track. That's the whole reason I do what I do. If it wasn't for those racers and those guys,
we wouldn't be shit.
Like,
just keeping it real.
The racers is what makes the entire thing. If they don't show up, your spectators don't show up. If they don't show up, the media doesn't show up. If the racers don't show up, I have no reason to promote, or anybody else has no reason to promote. You know what I mean? That's where a lot of people get away from, is they think about the money side of it. Oh, I can make some money and do this. They don't think about those racers. Those guys are. Without them, there's nothing.
So how you feel about that, bro? Like, if a promoter, if his whole goal is to go in there and make money, like, how you feel about that, bro? Because he will fail every time. I feel like he might succeed that first or second, but eventually it's gonna be a down spiral. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna, it's the law of averages. If I go do something 10 times, if I go out there on the street and try to sell somebody this Small Tire Gangster shirt, 1 out of those 10 people is probably going to buy this shirt. Yeah. And that's the same thing when it comes back to this. Promoters are going to hit a grand slam or a home run occasionally. Yeah. But if you're just focused on the money side of it, you're going to get away from the things that actually matter, and you will start to roll downhill. And once it starts rolling downhill, it's very hard to get that ball back pushed in the right direction, because you lose the goes right back to the racers. You lose the respect and the trust of the racers, then everybody else follows those guys. Exactly. Because without them, there's not anything there. Yeah. That's my most important goal in this whole thing. I could care less about the money.
That's just a bonus. You know what I mean? If I make a couple dollars here and there, and it pays a few bills, cool. If not, my bills will still.
But that's not your goal. Like that's not your overall goal, though. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't
That's
get
what
in
I'm
this
saying.
game to become a millionaire off of doing races because let's be honest, I think we all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I want to give the best possible. I call it a playground. Because at the end of the day, racers are kids. They're big kids. You know what I mean? I want the racers to have the best possible playground every single time they show up to one of my races.
Right.
They win a little bit of money. All the money goes back in their pocket. They do what they're supposed to do, and it's just like with Yellow Belly this weekend. That vibe and the thing, like, that was something that I haven't felt anywhere else from any other race that I've been to. I've been to bigger races. I've been to smaller races, but the vibe at Yellow Belly was the first time in a really long time that I actually seen racers and crew and everybody sitting back and enjoying themselves. And the racing was just a bonus of that. You know what I mean? There was, in the staging lanes, nobody was really in their cars, or they were all hanging out, you know, running around, talking and playing with each other. And you know.
I interviewed Tess and Billy, the kid. I know Tess was saying she loved the track, and Billy was like he wished this was his home track. Right. So it's crazy, bro. How.
And you know, Yellow Belly, it's a different place, but just the vibe there this weekend, we brought in the DJ to put right there by the staging lanes and all of that stuff.
DJ was killing it with that big ass plug.
Hey, he was killing it. But the whole goal was, where else in the United States is a racer strapped into his car with his helmet and everything, and Big X the plug is just bumping right beside his ear? Like, that gets those guys fired up. Like, it gave them a little extra motivation to go knock somebody's head off on the tree.
For sure,
or, you know what I mean? Like, give them that, bring the energy up, if you will.
Yeah.
Another one was, I wanted the DJ there, but I didn't want to put a DJ on the starting line and mess all my media guys up. Because you can't do no live stuff because they don't get you on the phone. When I put that DJ there, that was by design. Like, I thought that through. Me and Tom actually thought that through very, very thoroughly about where can we put this guy that it doesn't affect the media guys, but our racers get like it feels like as their car keeps moving further and further up, that energy is getting more and more built up where like they want to show out. They ain't worried about if their car is going to do a wheelie or this or that. They're in their car rapping Big X the plug. They don't care what happens at that point. Win or lose, they just there to have fun.
Heck yeah, I had a good time, man. I ain't gonna lie. You didn't have any issues or anything with the track and that you can disclose?
Honestly, I mean, when you go to Yellow Belly, we knew going in that it was going to be a battle. Yellow Belly has kind of the bare minimum as far as crew and equipment. Yeah. And when it comes to things like that, we brought in our own crew, we brought in our own equipment. Had a few issues with the timing system. Not really the timing system, but the tree itself. And then just oil downs and stuff like that. You can't. That's going to happen at any race, especially when you have that many cars and that many people in one place. You're going to have some hiccups. But for the facility as a whole, we weren't one wristband short. We weren't $1 short. We didn't have to argue. We didn't have to fight. We literally, everything went as smooth as possible. And Sunday morning when we rolled out, they shook our hand and said, we would love to have y'all back anytime y'all let us know. And we agreed mutually that when we were ready, we would let them know.
Nice.
So
I noticed y'all put gut editions. So y'all have like different track editions, like SRP edition. For example, I'm not saying.
We're still working on some of that.
For sure.
The thing with the small tire Gangsters deal is there was only so many of these chains made. You know, Tom wanted to sell some of them because we had so many people asking us about the chains. You know, there's people that were offering us $1,000 a piece for the chains and stuff. And Tom was kind of on the fence about that, and I think it was like the week before the race, me and him got into it pretty good. Like, we had a pretty knockdown drag out, like screamed and yelled at each other. I hung up, then he called me, and he hung up on me type deal. Because I told him, I was like, you're not putting them on we're not selling the chains. Because then you water it down and it takes away from the exclusive side.
Because of the trophy.
The trophy side of it. There's people that are traveling thousands of miles for just this alone.
Exactly.
It's about the money. It's about this, and you discredit all of that. If you can go buy it on a website, you know what I mean?
He actually came up to me and said that too. Like, I feel like if y'all do that, and I'm not a promoter, bro. I would love to be. But like, if y'all do, I feel like y'all should have like the winner circles. They should get a bigger Cuban link. Like a bigger, like a thicker
stuff.
Yeah. And if you want to sell them, you know,
so we talked
the smaller
about
ones
doing,
like that.
Something similar, but it was going to be a little bit smaller of a Cuban, and then the pendant would be square or smaller,
or something different than the winner circle.
And it wouldn't have this picture in it. It would have something else. The Small Tire Gangsters, maybe just the logo itself. In it. But something completely aside from our trophies.
Exactly.
So that way that it keeps that exclusive side of it, and in the same breath, that's where we kind of are with the race side of things. I don't want to be, this time next year if we sit down and talk again, I don't want to be on Small Tire Gangsters 4 or Small Tire Gangsters 5. Like, we should be talking, and probably Small Tire Gangsters 2 just happened. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. You're different.
I feel like if we keep it exclusive, because we did set the bar where we did, it's only going to get bigger and better. Sunday morning, I had pretty much all the sponsors on board ready to go again. Like, they were 100% ready to go again, and even some of them even said, like, we'll double what we put in this time. So that's kind of, we are going to do another Small Tire Gangsters. It'll be next year. It won't be this year. I don't know where exactly yet. We're still working on a few things and talking about a few things. Just because if we're gonna go double what we did, Yellow Belly was pretty much full where we were this last weekend, and if we have double, it's gonna be really hard to fit all those people back in there and it not be a problem. So we're weighing our options. We definitely don't want to move away from Yellow Belly, because
that's where y'all kind of established.
That's where we established it at, And
I would just ask, cause I seen it say gut edition. I didn't know.
Right, and that was we kind of planned to do different editions at one time, because we plan on doing like 2 or 3 races a year. But because this one was successful as it was, and we did set the bar kind of where we're at, I feel like if we water it down, it doesn't make it as exclusive and as fun, or makes people want to come, If we promote 2 like we did 1, everybody's, all the people that missed 1 will be back. We'll be back for 2. Like, there was literally people that got off Live Feast Friday night and got on an airplane and flew all the way to Yellow Belly and was there Saturday to watch it. I had my first kind of surreal moment this weekend too. Jason Cantu pulls up beside me on a golf cart, and we're talking about run order, this and that. And there was a guy from Germany. He had been messaging me and Tom prior to the race. He flew in from Germany, and he planned his whole entire trip to Texas around Small Tire Gangsters. So he was going to come to Small Tire Gangsters and all of that, and then he was staying for a few days after and going to go, check out some other stuff in Dallas, DFW area, all of that. But he came up to me and he's like, man, I watch you on Limpy's feed, I watch you do this, but I see you on all these live feeds, man. Can I have your autograph? And I'm like, I look at Cantu, because I really think he's talking to Cantu, you know what I mean? And he's like, no, you. And I'm like, shit, I guess. So I drew a wheelchair symbol on his shirt and signed it or whatever. And we took a picture. Homeboy turns around and walks off, and I looked at Cantu. I was like, why are you beside me, you pheasant? Why are you beside me right now? Like, so it was pretty funny to have a street outlaw right beside me, and then they
ask you for the autograph.
Somebody asking me for an autograph. So that was pretty surreal. Definitely made my heart smile a little bit.
It do something to you.
Feeling.
Hell yeah. So what was your favorite moment at Small Tire Gangsters?
Dude, just.
I know it was a lot, so you got
dude, the vibe, just the vibe in general. Everybody there was having a good time. Most places you go, it's race. We gotta go, and nobody ever has a minute to relax. We didn't really have a minute to relax, but everybody was so laid back and just kind of chilling, and it was race when you race. Like that's what I mean. All the cars were up in the staging lanes. They were doing exactly what they were supposed to do, but everybody was just kind of hanging out with each other. You know, I seen the guys from Arizona talking to the guys from Texas, and the guys from California talking to the guys from Florida. Like, I feel like there was a lot of great relationships that were made this weekend, just from the hospitality side of things.
Yeah.
And then, you know, dude, the pictures, all the moments I've seen, like Michael Hollis when he won the junior varsity deal, and there's that picture of everybody jumping up and down, and like stuff like that is what that is literally why I do this for. It's the winner's circle picks are cool and all of that, the money's cool and all of that, but dude, just the seeing people smile and happy and in their environment and happy for other people. You know, I mean, I've seen a lot of that this weekend. There was a lot of friends that were just genuinely happy to see each other succeed or win, or whether one guy got knocked out or whatever, he got out of his car and he went right back up there to help his homie. And I've seen that, I think, a lot more this weekend than I have in the last probably year or so. I feel like that is what Small Town Gangsters is supposed to be about. Is everybody helping everybody, and we can all win here. You know, I may not want you to eat at my table, but we all should be eating.
Right, exactly. So, far as like promoters, how do you feel about promoters downplaying other promoters so that the attention can be on them?
I mean, first, watch how I say this, I guess you should say. The hating in the racing world is probably the number one problem. Like the people that think this is a competition are a lot of the problem. Like we don't have to compete against one another. I'm not out here to be the number one promoter in the nation, or to have all the money in the world, or this or that. I just want the respect and the trust from the racers that they know when they show up to my race, they're going to have a good time. Their money's going to be there, and everybody's going to be safe at the end of the day. Like that's all I care about. Is racers first, everything else is after. And that's, I don't mean to put anybody on the back burner when I say that or not, but that goes right back to what we were talking about earlier. Without the racers, there is no media, there is no spectators, there is no gate, there is no, you know, without those guys, they make this what it is. How do you play basketball without a basketball? You can have 10 guys on a court, but if you don't have a ball, what do you do?
Right. Makes sense.
Same concept. But they're, you know, the promoters putting each other against each other and battling and making it out to be a competition. I kind of keep telling Tom the same thing. There shouldn't be any competition, and if you're at the top and where you're supposed to be, there is no competition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's I'm not gonna look down on anybody. That's the last thing I want to do, or I'm going to do, and I'm not gonna give other people energy that is not deserved. If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and I think you're doing it for the wrong reasons, I'll remove myself and go on about my business. At the end of the day, that's not on me. That's on you as a person. You know, that shows your character and who you are. If you're making this about you and all about you, or about the money.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go back a little bit, man. In high school, you told me you was 7 foot.
Yep.
You was tall, basically.
Yep.
And you played any sports in school?
I did. I played basketball. Football wasn't for me. I'm too damn skinny for that. They were always trying to get me to play receiver and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm not. See this long target?
Yeah.
There's a lot of bones to be broken. Like that wasn't me. I played basketball and was pretty good at it. I didn't commit myself fully to a lot of that stuff. I was more worried about hanging out with my friends and you know, doing other things rather than playing sports. I didn't really my mom kind of just let me do whatever. I'm not, you know, my mom is the best thing on this entire planet. But she never really pushed me to be the best me at that point in time. She was letting me be a kid. You know what I mean? She didn't care that we were running around drinking and smoking and doing all that stuff at 16, 17 years old, as long as I was safe. If I was somewhere safe doing it, it wasn't, I wasn't pressured to do things or forced to do anything. And I kind of fell out of it a little bit, away from the sports and all that stuff. So I should have applied myself a little bit more, but it is what it is. Can't go back now.
And you didn't go to college or anything, did you? You didn't go to college, okay.
So that's I was actually supposed to leave and go to college the 22nd of August. I had my rec on August the 10th. So 12 days before. And I was going to go to just a technical school. I really wanted to do paint and body work.
Paint and body work, okay. So I know you mentioned earlier how whenever you had your accident and everything, you went into that depression mode. You didn't have any goals or ambition or anything. So what drives you now, bro? Like what's your goals now? Like name some of your goals and tell me like what drives you. What makes you say, I'm ready to start my day. You know what I'm saying?
The people that doubt me. They're the ones that have doubted me.
I'm pretty sure you had a lot of people that say,
there was people that I was friends with from the time I grew up, and so, I graduated high school with some of these people, and when I had my accident, I still haven't seen them to this day.
Yeah.
And there was little comments and things that were made behind the scenes and things like that, that fueled a lot of this, that kind of lit a fire in it mostly. But I mean, you're talking to me the day after I just signed a deal with Nitrous Express to work here full time. I've reached a lot of my goal. My goal was not necessarily to make a living doing this, but to do what I love, and I wouldn't have to work. I mean, and that's where I'm at. I come here every day. Don't have any issue getting here, coming to work, anything like that, because I love it. It's I'm involved in the racing world. I talk to racers every day here. Talk to sponsors. I talk to different people. All of this stuff. I'm involved in the racing community as a whole.
Right.
And that it drives me. With some of the people that are out, putting on these races or doing these things for the wrong reasons, it pushes me just a little bit harder. To not really, I don't want to say put my foot on their neck, but to gain that trust and that respect more and more from those racers and do it bigger and better, so that they know the true pure intentions that are coming from somebody, and that is a lot of it that drives me. I want to make the best possible playground for some of these guys to come in and have fun.
Right. So what are your goals like for the next 5 years of your life? Just some goals that you got. If you don't have any, I mean, pretty sure you got 1 or 2 though.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do. My next goal would be probably getting in a car myself.
Okay.
And it's not necessary. I'm not talking about going all out or anything like that, but I want to work towards getting me something like to race in all this cheap street deal and some of the index stuff, the slower class stuff, just for me to have a little bit of fun. So I'm working towards that, and continue to grow the Small Tire Gangsters brand. Those are my 2 goals right now, that I have 100% of my focus on. The Small Tire Gangsters brand is actually what I'm first and foremost right now, and I feel like the car and everything is going to kind of fall into place at some point. Kind of messing around with all of this stuff. So those are my 2 biggest goals I do them in 12-month periods. I do my goals in a 12-month period. I write it down on a calendar.
So you got a vision board?
I have a vision board.
Yeah, I do too.
I try to.
How successful people do.
Yeah, working for all those sales jobs and stuff that I did, doing all those seminars and different things that I did. I learned, a lot of people think that stuff is a waste of time, but when you wake up every morning, I have a picture on my nightstand of my logo, my family, Small Tire Gangsters logo, my family, kind of everything, what I do it for, right there. So first thing when I wake up in the morning, that's the first thing I see.
Yeah.
And that's my motivation to get up and go get it. Like, don't stop. You come in my house and it's nothing but pictures of me and race cars and stuff all over to remind myself, it's almost like a timeline of where you came from, and don't ever forget it.
Right.
But also remember the things that went on there, and like, the lessons learned, not the losses, but the lessons.
Right.
That Jay-Z said that in was it the 444 song? Every L is not a loss, some are a lesson.
Yeah.
And
that's how you learn.
That is exactly how I learned. So I look back at some of those. I look back at some of those with the people in the picture or the things in the picture, and no hate or no harm in my heart, but I'm glad it happened. But I'm just focused on a different route now. This is, I'm focused on bettering myself and my brand and making this as big as I possibly can.
Yeah, I feel like we on the same thing, bro, because I'm the same way with my brand. And I'm not trying to drift off into me, because it's really about you, but like, I'm the same way, just trying to focus on bettering myself, make peace with myself, and build my brand. So I feel you when you say that, bro, for real.
Yep, and you've done a really good job with the Forever Grudge stuff. Like, shout out to you for real. Because I think a little bit of an eye opener for you this weekend. I know you don't know Bill Hoskinson's and Billy and all of this, kind of the way that we do. But those guys watch you a lot.
I don't even know, like, how, why, bro. I don't know.
It's because they love racing, and you're providing them racing content.
For sure.
Up there where they live, it's not down here in the Midwest like we're racing every weekend or Thursdays or this. You're somewhere every weekend. There's not a weekend a lot of the times that you're not somewhere. Whether you be at the streets or no prep or full radio prep or big tire stuff. Whatever, you're somewhere every single weekend. Not everybody else has access to that the way that we do. So a lot of those people follow you and they watch you and they appreciate it because they see you follow all of these brands. It's not just about one focus for you. It's about the word racing.
That's it.
That is all.
I ain't gonna say my main focus is the no time grudge racing. But like you say, that is a fact though. Like
and that's your thing. You know all of those guys. You know all the cars. You know everything about it. And the same turn, you can come over in my world, the streets or the no prep stuff. You know some of them, and you know all of us. You know what I mean? You still do a good job.
Yeah.
I can go show up at your no time stuff, and I'm just as clueless as anybody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't have no idea.
But it's racing.
It's racing. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna support those guys. Just like I would hope they would support me. You know what I mean? Like I'll buy a T-shirt. I'll spend my money at the gate. Whatever I got to do, because at the end of the day, racing has it's made a real comeback over the last few years, but there for a while it was a very, very slow dying breed. The way I looked at the deal with the small tire gangsters, a lot of people hated us because we charged $100 just flat rate. But the reason that was done was, one, to keep as many people off the start line as possible. You know what I mean? Because not everybody's going to pay $100 to come stand on the starting line. Two, the media that wouldn't spend $100 to come stand on that starting line, I'm not saying that necessarily that I just didn't want you there, but if you can't invest in yourself, that $100 to potentially go make 1,000 or 2 or 5, you know what I mean? If you take some content there, what if that video blows up and gets 1 million views, bro? And you just made $5 or $6 grand off of it, you know what I mean? That $100 investment was probably one of the best investments that you've made in a long time, you know what I mean? And I think after this weekend, the people that didn't come probably regretted it because of the content that is coming out of that place right now. Yeah,
it's different with content creators though. See, we get residual income, like if you're monetized on your platforms, but like, as far as like photographers, I really wouldn't know how they make their money besides selling prints. But it's like 80 photographers there, so
and some of them they sell them $10 a picture, some of them sell package deals or this or that. I know I personally went through and I spent $40 or $50 with a bunch of those photographers. to kind of give my thanks to them.
Yeah.
But also because of the moments that they captured.
For sure.
If you go in there, I'll send you the picture. You can go in there when we get done. There's a picture of me on the wall, and there's a picture of Jimmy Dale on the wall that I had made. I purchased both the pictures, and then I had them made into posters. And one of them is Jimmy Dale with the microphone, and it's just him with his blue shirt, and then everybody else is kind of blurred around in the back, but it's him in a crowd of all them people, and it's just a moment that will last forever.
For sure.
And then there's one of me like throwing up the peace sign in front of like all the sea of people, and that's something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. You know, it's the cars and all of that is cool, but it's the moments and the memories that are captured forever that mean the most.
Right. What are some
obstacles
that you're going through now?
Like recently is just the
and it don't even have to be about the incident, just mentally anything.
Right now, my biggest battle is keeping my mouth shut and not giving and just not giving people the energy that they don't deserve. There's a lot of I feel like over the last few months we and I have gained a lot of traction with some of this stuff with the Small Tower Gangsters brand and all of this stuff, and we've gotten, I don't want to say blown up or anything, but we've kind of got pushed into the limelight a little bit. You know, I went and filmed twice with Street Outlaws last year. The Small Tower Gangsters deal, working with Limpy, kind of got pushed in the limelight, and there's a lot of people that are giving me a lot of pushback with that. And the old me would have flew off the handle and told them exactly what I thought, and probably hurt some other people in the process. And that is my biggest battle right now, is just keeping my composure where it's supposed to be, and not letting that stuff get to me.
Right.
Kind of just brushing it off. You know, my great grandpa actually told me, this is crazy, 2 days before he passed away, I was arguing with this chick. We were going back and forth, and you know, she would send me paragraphs, and I'd send her paragraphs, and we were just going back and forth, and it just got worse and worse. Every message, it got more disrespectful and more disrespectful. And I'm sitting there at the table like cussing this like mad, banging on the table and whatnot.
You don't even know you wasted.
And my great grandpa, he kind of giggling at me. Like at this point, he's 90-something years old, and he's like, he kind of giggling at me. And I'm like, look at him, like, you old mother, like, what's so funny? You know what I mean? What's so funny? And he said, all I'm going to tell you is the best response is no response.
Oh, yeah.
And at the time, I didn't really get it. I didn't even really get it. But then I've had time to think about it over the years, and it actually kind of smacked me in the face the other day. But if me and you were arguing, and you send me a 3-page paragraph about how much you hate me, and you want this and da-da-da-da-da, and you want me to fail, and you want this, and you want this, and blah, 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 blah. If I respond back to it with a paragraph about how you're stupid and don't listen and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, blah, 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 just that feeds into it, I just gave you what you wanted.
Yeah, no, for sure.
If I don't reply at all, with no response whatsoever, it's going to piss you off 10 times more. The simple fact that I acknowledged you, I opened it, I read it, and I acknowledged you, and I didn't give you the time of day to say anything back to me.
And it goes to show, like, bro, like, you at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
And then you ain't got time to do all this shit.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I got so many other things to battle right now. That's
why I don't argue with nobody, bro. And I hate to put it on me again, but like, bro, you will never see me arguing, going back and forth, especially on Facebook.
Right.
Hell, I look like going back on a blue out, back and forth with. Nah, you will never see me. You see me at the track, bro. I'm doing me. I'm doing this. I'm not arguing with nobody.
And that's I mean, like we're talking about the obstacles like that, and just keeping my peace. That is, I call them horse blinders on. You know, you stay focused and look forward.
Yeah, tunnel vision.
Don't look at all the stuff that's going on behind you. They say that the rear view mirror is small for a reason. You got the rear view mirror on your big glass window, right?
Yes, sir.
You focused out here. It's okay to look in that rear view mirror occasionally.
For sure.
But don't get stuck there, because then you're gonna miss, or you're gonna run into something because you weren't watching out the bigger picture there.
For sure.
You stay, basically you get stuck in your past or behind you, bad things happen. So keeping that tunnel vision and just keep rolling forward.
Nah, for sure. Nah, I feel that for sure. So the street race, I'm probably gonna wrap it up in a few minutes, but I know you're busy. So street racing, bro. So tell me why you love no prep and street racing so much. 'Cause I love the grudge racing.
Right.
Tell me why you love the no prep and the street racing. What drives you to love like the street racing and the no prep racing? Like, how is it different from any other races that you've been to?
The outlaw side of it.
Okay.
There's not another adrenaline that you can get from street racing. Or the no prep stuff is a little bit different because it's kind of, no prep is to simulate street in a safe environment.
Okay. Right.
The street racing stuff, dude, you just can't get any more adrenaline or rush knowing that you're doing something illegal. You know what I mean? Like I've always been kind of one to bend or break the rules a little bit. My mom will tell you when I was a kid, they used to tell me to do stuff that they didn't want me to do.
Right.
Because if they told me don't do that, I was going to turn right around. I was going to look you in the face, turn around, and go right there and do it right there with no hesitation. So I guess that's always kind of been in me. That street race, you just can't get the adrenaline anywhere else. It's the outlaw feel. I've never had an incident where two cars were going down and the cops popped out or anything like that, but you've been there multiple times when the cops have rolled up, and we're trying to get ready to do something, and everybody kind of scrambles and runs. It reminds me of when we were kids, toilet paper in houses and shit. You know what I mean? We'd be throwing toilet paper up in trees and sticking forks in people's yards or saran wrapping, whatever.
What do we call them? It was a certain, I don't know if they use them down here. It was a certain Mississippi terminology that we use. Not egging houses. I think it was called mummy. What was mummy? Mummy rap. I think it was called mummy rap. I don't know if that was in Texas though. It was a Mississippi thing that we did. Me and my homie, man, let's go. Y'all played knock on the doors and y'all just leave.
Take off running.
Yeah.
Ding dong ditch.
Ding dong ditch. So see how that got a name to it? Yeah. I think it was called mummy rap. Let's go mummy rap at house. That's what we call it. Yeah.
I got you.
Was it mummy rap? Yeah. Mummy rap, something like that. Yeah.
We used to toilet paper, and then we would put forks all in their yards. You know what I mean? Plastic forks everywhere. And then we would take saran wrap, like 10 rolls of saran wrap, and we'd go around people's cars and then over the top of it. And you straight up had to get like a razor blade and cut down the body, like the door line of your car, to be able to open your door.
No, we ain't do that, fool.
You know what I mean? Like we was just
we ain't do that,
we was out running around doing hood rat shit like that.
Yeah.
We was kids, man. And then you may be toilet paper in somebody's house. And matter of fact, we used to wrap saran wraps from telephone pole to telephone pole across the street. And the cars would drive through it, and when they would get all the way through it would pop real loud like a gunshot.
Damn, we ain't do no like that. We just did the mummy route, like the toilet paper. We call it mummy route.
This memory actually popped up in my head talking about this. It's the same thing as street racing, man. When the cops show up, everybody scatters, everybody starts running. You just got to hey, let's get out of here as quick as possible type deal. Same thing when I was a kid, man. I was probably 10 years old, 11 years old, and we was saran wrapping telephone poles. And we're all giggling, laughing behind this house. This car's driving up. Yeah. And we realized about halfway through that saran wrap that a sheriff was the one driving through that saran wrap. And as soon as it popped, the lights came on, and I'll never forget, me and like 7 of my buddies went all different directions, running, scattering, and different. We ran probably 15 blocks back to the house or whatever it was. But that's why I love the street stuff. It kind of doesn't really bring back old memories, but it's the criminal in me. It's just fun. There's you're not supposed to be doing it, and I'm doing it.
Nah, for sure. So I usually ask grudge racers, what are ways to improve? What are ways that you think you can that we can improve grudge racing? But I'm gonna reverse the question and ask you, what are ways that you think street racing can be improved?
The street racing and just no prep and street racing in general. Going back to the roots.
Okay. Walk me through that. How's the roots?
It's got away from just about the racing. You know, guys used to go out on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and they'd race for a Whataburger meal, or something like that. It was strictly just about the racing side of it. You know, a lot of this has got about the money pots or this and that. You know, there's a lot of people that make this stuff about money, or they try to make a living off of these things, and get back away from that. Necessarily, you know, there's a couple different things that I've got some ideas for, you know, where to try to help the racers out, where they make a little bit of money but they don't have to spend anything as well, where they can come out and just have fun, more or less. Go back to how it used to be. You know, you go back and watch some Olympi's early videos back in early 06, 07. They were just out there having fun, man. They didn't have high dollar cars. They didn't have these, you know, $50,000, $60,000 motors. They didn't have all that stuff. They had the most basic shit man can get, with some store-bought parts from the Jegs catalog that they had at the time, or the whatever they could get their hands on, and they just went out there and had a blast. And I want to kind of bring that back to the side of things. It's gotten to now where it's more about the money and people trying to make a living off of these things and all of that. And I don't want to say it's not fair to the racers, because there's a lot of racers that make money off of it, and that's what they do. But I feel like there's a lot of stress and drama that come from those things happening.
Right. Okay. Nice, man. All right, man. I think that's about it. Any last words that you have for anybody, man?
I just want to give a shout out to, most importantly, the Nitrous Express and Snow Performance family. Thank y'all for everything that you've done. Ashburn and Fisher, Mike Fisher, thank you for everything that you've done. The whole Stefco group, I can't thank y'all enough. Those guys have really, since day one, they didn't even really know me, and treated me like family, and now we are, I would consider them my family. And then the Joe Dirt racing team, man, the S10, Mike and Tammy Winder, they have been a big part of all of this and pushed me more or less out of my comfort zone a little bit, and have driven me to be the best me as possible. You know, Mike Winder is he's older than me. I kind of look at him as like an older brother, if you will. But we've had multiple conversations, and he would just tell me, you know, go do it, because I've been talking about, hey, I want to do this, or I'm trying to do this, or blah 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 blah. Kind of on the fence about it, or I was hesitant, or nervous, whatever the case would be. And he's like, do it. What's the worst that can happen? You know what I mean? Like, what's the worst that could happen? And that's kind of how I live my life at this point. You know what I mean? What is the worst that could happen? I'll roll off the side of a cliff. I don't care at this point.
Right.
What's the worst that's gonna happen? I mean, I can't walk at the bottom of the cliff. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm already there. You know what I mean? It don't matter. Like, I guess that's the biggest thing is thank them for doing that. And if I'll leave it at if you're thinking about doing something, or you're hesitant about doing something, nervous, any of that, go do it, man.
For sure.
Get out and go do it. Like, don't hold yourself back, or don't let anybody hold you back from what you want to do.
Nice, bro. Well, I appreciate you, Poland, man. I really appreciate your time, bro. For real. And thank you for being a part of the episode, man.
Always, thank you.
Yes, sir.